All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert, and welcome to our second episode of our March Madness bracket series, bracket tips, that is. And this is episode number 2, where we talk about how to pick your first round upsets. So let's talk about the upset, right? Everyone loves an upset in March Madness. They're the most talked about things. It's the reason that the first rounds are so exciting. Often you have these big major schools against these, no offense, no name lower D1 schools that are the automatic qualifiers from their given conferences. But the upsets are what makes it all worth it, right? Everyone remembers, for example, MTSU in 2016, UMBC in 2018, Mercer upsetting Duke, UAB over Iowa State. Everyone remembers those games, right? No one remembers, no offense, no one really remembers who Virginia played in the first round of the time that they won the national championship. I think it was Gardner Webb, but I could be wrong. No one remembers that, but everyone remembers that they played UMBC because of the upset, right? So that's sort of what gets people into March Madness, is knowing the upset. So we want to talk to you about how to select your upsets. Taking a chalk bracket it's boring, first of all, and second of all, it's not really a good idea because there always will be upsets. So how do you identify them? How do you know which ones are good to pick, and how do you sort of balance, taking the better teams, but also finding where there's some chance that a good team might lose on any given day. So let's move into it. What are the rules of an upset? So what we consider an upset and what many people consider an upset might differ. Some people consider an upset just the lower seed winning. We consider an upset anywhere in that 11 to 16 seed range. That's just because a 10 over a 7 or a 9 over an 8, although by the numbers is an upset. Those are a lot more common and a lot more I guess commonly picked and easy to identify maybe, and not as exciting. The 9 over the 8 game is never really as exciting of an upset as, say, a 15 over a 2. You sort of get this underdog mentality with those schools, and we like to see a good 11 to 16 seeds. So that's what we're talking about today, is how do you pick which 11 to 16 seeds, if there are any 16 seeds, how do you pick which ones are going to win? So our number one rule, always pick some, right? No one likes a chalk bracket, and there's never been a bracket with straight chalk for all the 11 and 16 seeds. Someone in there is always going to make the second round. There's never been one that hasn't, at least since '85. So, with that being said, let's move into analyzing some of these upsets. So, looking at the 11 seeds versus the 6 seeds. Historically, 11 seeds are 52 and 88 against the 6 seeds, good for a winning percentage of 37.14. A rule, there's been at least one 11 seed to win each year since '05. In 2011, 2016, and 2017 actually saw the 11 seeds post a winning record in those years, seeing 3 of their 4 teams advance to the round of 32. With all that being said, expect 1 or 2 11 seeds to advance. It's always a rule, always pick one, but there's a chance that there's 2. You're sort of right in that range. Like I said, 37%. You're right in between that 1 or 2 range. Picking 3, it's possible. Especially maybe if you don't have the 6 seed winning the round after that, it could be a spot where you pick up some value in your bracket pools. And then just looking on the left there, those are some famous 11 seeds to have won in the past. The last one being Ohio State in the last tournament that was played in 2019. And then maybe the most famous one was Loyola Chicago in their Cinderella run to the Final Four the year, I think it was 2017. So that was the year that Virginia and the UMBC thing happened. So maybe 2018. Probably 2018 now that I'm thinking about it. So, that's sort of your summary versus 11 and 6 seeds. So, take 1 or 2 11 seeds to advance. That's a good rule of thumb. 12 seeds versus the 5 seeds. Their winning percentage doesn't drop by much, 35.71%, and they're 50 and 90 against the 5 seeds. That's 12 seeds are 50 and 90. And that's since the bracket went to a full 64 in 1985. So on average, 1.6 12 seeds advance each year. So that being said, definitely take one. Always take one. Just like we said with the 11 seeds, always take a 12 seed. There's always going to be one. There are occasionally, not like I said in 2018 and 2015, none of them moved on. But another example in 2019, 2014, and 2013, they saw 3 12 seeds move on. So it's always smart to take one, maybe even 2. 3 is getting a little risky, and 4, it hasn't happened. All 4 or 5 seeds have not dropped in the first round yet. It's possible, definitely possible, especially this year with the first 4, I believe, coming in on that 12 line. You're going to have some good, Power 5 conference teams coming in that potentially could steal a game against a 5 seed if they have a bad night and the 12 seed has that extra game of preparation in the first 4. So again, pick 1 or 2 of those as well. in your bracket. 13 seeds versus the 4 seeds. Historically, they are 29 and 111 against the 4 seeds. Good for a winning percentage of about 20.71%, so below that 25% threshold to say guaranteed to take one. Since 2001, at least one 13 seed has advanced in all but 5 years. In 2018, 2008, and 2001, each of them saw 2 13 seeds move on, good for 15% of the years since the turn of the century. And then in 2017, 2015, 2014, and 2007, and 2004, no 13 seeds advanced. So there's a quarter of the time that no 13 seeds win. But that being said, in the other percentage of the time, if you take the inverse of that of 75%, one 13 seed will advance. So it's always good to take one 13 over a 4, maybe identify the weakest 4, and we'll get into that once the bracket actually comes out. But find a 4 seed that maybe plays a big boom or bust style, or maybe even the 13 seed that plays, maybe a very high-powered offensive style, because those are liable to get hot. Maybe not so much this year with the crowd not behind them, but in any other year, if the crowd gets behind you and you can shoot the 3 really well, and your opponent underestimates you, those are sort of the factors that go into these very high seeds, low seeds, whatever you want to call them, the 13s, 14s, and 15s. That's what makes them upset the low or high, however you look at it, 2, 3, and 4 seeds. So, like I said, maybe pick one. It's probably smart to pick 1 instead of 0, but definitely don't pick 2. That's ill-advised. As far as 14 seeds versus the 3 seeds, okay. Historically, they are 21 and 119 against the 3 seeds, so 15% win probability. Since 2001, only 8 14 seeds have upset 3 seeds in the opening round. Only 1 year saw more than one 14 seed win. That was 2015. That was the year that Kentucky was the odds-on favorite, and Duke ended up winning over Wisconsin in the national championship, for those of you keeping track at home. And then a 14 seed moves on in only 35% of tournaments since 2001. So less than 50% chance. So if you're playing the numbers here, don't pick one. If you do, pick only one. And like I said with the past one, try to find a good balance between the weakest number 3 seed and the 14 seed that maybe plays the best style for them to pull an upset. And some famous 14 seeds have been the Georgia State team, UAB, Stephen F. Austin, and Mercer. That Mercer one coming over Duke, probably the most famous. Obviously, when Duke goes down early, it's always, not a good sign, but a good story, right? A good story a good story for that upset team. Moving on, the 15 seeds versus the 2 seeds. Historically speaking, 15 seeds have only won 8 times in the history of this full 64-team bracket, or 68, however you look at it. Good for only 5.71% win probability. Since 2001, only once has there been a year with 2 15 seeds, so don't pick that. That was 2012, total fluke. Only 5 15 seeds have won since the turn of the century, the most recent being MTSU in 2016 over Michigan State. Our advice is officially don't pick a 15 seed to advance, although it's a good story and maybe a good thing to get behind. It's just not a smart move to pick. It only happens 5.71% at the time, far less than that 25% of the time that we'd like to see when we say to guarantee to pick one of them in your bracket. So moving on from there, we look at the the pinnacle of an upset, the 16 seed over the 1 seed. Up until 2 years ago, it had never happened, and then we saw Umbc down Virginia in the 2018 tournament. So, again, don't take a 16 seed to win over a 1 seed. It's possible. A lot of people said it was impossible. It's definitely still improbable, though. It's only happened once out of 140 matchups, and we don't foresee it happening again this year. So, it could happen. It's very, very unlikely. It's literally less than a 1% chance. So, try to stick with the 1 seed at least through the first round. If you want to pick an upset, at least wait until that 8 or 9 seed gets to play them, or maybe even in the Sweet 16 if you want to down a 1 seed fairly early. So that's all we have on the upsets, right? We told you sort of which ones to pick, how to look for them, and we'll get into more detail, more specifics when the bracket gets released next Sunday. So until then, stay tuned for more episodes of our Bracket Tips series. We have 5 more episodes coming out. Again, this was episode 2. So our next 5 episodes are how to identify a Cinderella, how far to take a Cinderella, how to pick your Sweet 16, how to pick which top seeds will fall first, and how to pick your national champion. So with that being said, my name's Rob from Hoop Power Analytics. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop a like on the video and a comment if you enjoyed. And make sure to stay tuned and follow us on Twitter and Instagram for the most up-to-date and insightful knowledge into the world of college basketball throughout this March Madness season. Thank you for watching.